Whoa.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I call to order our December 19th regular scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting. Thank you for being here tonight. Ask Mayor Pro Tem Gardner to lead us in our invocation tonight, and Lieutenant Connerly to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. If you all please stand.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day and this wonderful town that we've had, and for the opportunity to gather here tonight in your love and in service to our town. We ask that you be with us in the proceedings tonight, and as we go through this season, make it a season of giving and caring for others as we look forward to the new year. We ask that you guide us in our decisions tonight, that they may be pleasing in your sight and the best we can do for our beautiful community. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'll ask Town Manager Mitchell to review the meeting protocol for public participation as it relates to this meeting. Adam, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, board members. It's good to be with you tonight. Tonight's town board meeting is both in person and live streamed on the town's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Tonight's meeting contains a public comment period and one scheduled public hearing. The public is invited to comment in person. When it is the appropriate time, Mayor Massengill will call on those wishing to address the town board. All attendees that have appeared in person to address the town board during the public comment period should provide your name and address on the green registration sheet by the podium prior to the public comment period beginning. All attendees that have appeared in person to address the town board during the scheduled public hearing should provide your name and address on the white registration sheet by the podium. We ask all those wishing to address the town board, either during the public comment period or a scheduled public hearing, to begin their comments by clearly stating their name and address for the public record. The public is asked to keep all comments to 3 minutes so that all that wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. To be respectful of those that may have different views on matters addressed by the town board, we ask that all in attendance respect the decorum of the meeting by refraining from clapping, making loud noises, and generally showing support or displeasure for comments made during the public comment process. Police Chief Medina will be asked to escort from the boardroom anyone not respecting the process, and it is the discretion of the mayor as presiding officer of this meeting as to whether to continue the public comment and or public hearing periods or not. This concludes the protocol for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Adam. First item of business is the approval of the minutes from the December 4th, 2023 organization meeting and the Town Board of Commissioners regular scheduled meeting. Any changes or additions to the minutes?
I've got one change.
Commissioner Adcock?
Item 6C just references my taking the oath of office, and there were a couple of things with the my prior experience on the board where I think the year is incorrect, and I'm hoping that we can approve the minutes with allowing me to send what I think are the correct dates to the clerk and have her verify that my dates are correct and anyway, and make sure the minutes are the actual dates. So that's the only thing I had.
I'm good with that, Teresa. That work for you? Okay. All right. Is that a motion?
Mayor Massengill, I move that we approve the minutes of the December 4th, 2023 organization meeting and the Town Board of Commissioners regular schedule meeting as corrected by Commissioner Adcock.
Second the motion.
Thank you.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. First presentation tonight is item 4A, AOMP graduation for Lieutenant Richard Connerly. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Police Chief Medina. Chief, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Lieutenant Richard Connerly successfully completed the North Carolina State University's 97th session of the Administrative Officers Management Program. The Administrative Officers Program, also known as AOMP, has provided management and leadership education for law enforcement professionals since 1989. AOMP is operated as part of a nationally accredited public administration program, an uncommon distinction among residential police management schools. Participants enroll in 5 academic courses of 3 credit hours each. All courses carry upper-level undergraduate and graduate credits identical to those earned by other NC State students. Credits earned in this program are readily transferable. Lieutenant Carnley started his law enforcement education with the Smithville Police Department in February 2007. He worked on patrol for several years before transferring to Narcotics Division, followed by being promoted to a patrol sergeant. In June 2018, Lieutenant Carnley left the Smithfield Police Department and continued his law enforcement agency with our agency. Since joining our agency, Lieutenant Carnley served as a patrol officer until he was promoted to patrol sergeant in January 2020. He served as a criminal investigative sergeant, drug and vice sergeant until he was promoted to lieutenant in March of 2023. With then, he became one of 2 lieutenants tasked with overseeing patrol services. Lieutenant Carnley currently continues to serve as the agency's only certified drug recognition expert. He is a general instructor specializing in teaching standardized field sobriety testing. He holds both an intermediate and advanced certificate from the North Carolina Justice Training and Standards, and is currently enrolled at Columbia Southern University and is very close to earning his bachelor's degree. Congratulations, Lieutenant Carnley, on your professional and academic accomplishment.
Lieutenant, congratulations, first of all. Thank you very much for taking the time to continue to educate yourself and to better yourself and bring back valuable information to our police department. It makes a difference what you're doing, and Chief, thank you for supporting education and continuing it with your staff right here, because this makes a difference. And not only have you been in a very grueling program right now at NC State that was, as we were talking earlier, it takes a lot of time to go through, but you've been working on your bachelor's at the same time. And so, and not only all of that, meanwhile, juggling family and life and everything that comes with that. And so it's a very busy time, but thank you for taking the time to do that. It makes a difference, and an education like this keeps you in Fuquay-Varina being a dash more. So congratulations, Lieutenant. Come up here and let us shake your hands, please. Congratulations.
Congratulations, go back.
Congratulations. Appreciate all you do. Congratulations. Congratulations.
My goofy jacket, I know we're taking photos tonight. I like it. I might want to wear something different. Yeah. So. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. Our second presentation tonight, item 4B, is a presentation, Leadership Fuquay-Varina Youth Athletics Scholarship Fund Donation, Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources, $1,469, BA-24-19. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Parks and Recreation Director Cox.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. The purpose of this presentation and agenda item is to recognize the 2023 Leadership Fuquay-Varina program in raising $1,469 to go towards the non-resident scholarship for the youth sports program. The funds donated will assist non-resident youth that qualify to participate in youth sports programs. At this time, I'd like to introduce Anne-Marie Amico, who oversees the Chamber Leadership Fuquay-Varina program, to share more about the program, the fundraising component, and introduce the graduates of the 2023 class.
Thank you, Jonathan. Mayor, Commissioners, and
Hey, Anne-Marie, good evening.
administrative staff. Hi. this class has just done a tremendous job. They have really gotten to know each other well this year, and they have raised this $1,400, $2 at a time, by selling popcorn at every Follow Me to Fuquay-Varina concert this year. And they showed up, they supported each other, and Officer McDonald's daughter even helped every single time. So it was a really big success for us. This next year, 2024, will be the 10th year of this program. We, as of December this year, we have 93 alumni in the community, and the impact that they're making is huge. We have many town staff members, police department, fire department, and many businesses have been represented. We have people that have become elected officials that are leadership alumni. We have people who are directing nonprofits all around town. A few of the alumni from Leadership Fuquay-Varina raised the $121,000 that helped 45 businesses during the COVID issue that we had. And so you're going to see the impact of people who come through for years to come as they take roles in very unconventional ways sometimes with nonprofits or just in civic groups that they're going to step forward and help move Fuquay-Varina together. And so I would like to introduce the people who are with us tonight that could come, the class of 2023. They've shown a tremendous commitment. They give us 10 months, 10 days out of the year that they spend the entire day. They have work outside of class. They have their project that they have, a service project that they have to finish by the end of the year. So every year, we've had a tremendous group of people come through, and this year's group was just great.
Let me break the ice for you, first of all, and tell you thank you for, first of all, Anne-Marie, you've led this program for 10 years, all 10 years, too. Not by myself. With a lot of help, you're correct. But this has been one of your projects that you spearheaded in the beginning, and I remember this, and you've done a great job with it, and hence the participation from our citizens we've seen in our town each time. It's really made a big difference. And so it's, thank you for putting your time into it. And thank you for every one of y'all in this room for taking your time for Leadership Fuquay-Varina. Leadership Fuquay-Varina has had a lot of great leaders that's created out of the program. And so you see people that are involved with different businesses in our town, elected officials, nonprofits, a whole variety of areas. Each time we have been fortunate that we've been able to have some town staff that has been on this each time too. Tiffany, that's right here with Parks and Rec, Karen with HR, and Morgan with Finance right here too. So thank y'all for taking your time, and obviously, Officer McDonald, about to call you Connerly a minute ago, and thank you for taking your time right here too, and each and every one of y'all. You know, you mentioned the popcorn and water fundraiser that y'all did, and so not only are you working full-time, you're learning about town-related activities across our community, and you're giving back at the same time right there. And so raising $1,469, as you mentioned, at $2 at a time, selling popcorn and water, which was delicious popcorn. I remember that day. Ate my fair share of it every time, instead of my kids. But thank y'all for supporting and giving back to our youth athletic sports program at the same time. Okay. Give you another round of applause and take this picture with you.
Let's get a picture.
See your daddy sneak in. Say something like that. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Looking forward to big things.
Tiffany, your father's also in the room tonight, who had a great birthday recently. And so, Carl, glad to see you here tonight. Also, thank you for coming to support Tiffany. It's good to see you, my friend.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
we do have a, typically we don't have a lot of action items under presentations, but this one did involve an action item, so there is a recommended motion by the board to approve the budget amendment BA 2419 as presented so that we can accurately recognize the funds that were so graciously donated to us by the leadership Fuquay class.
Thank you again, Leadership Fuquay-Varina class. I'd like to entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve Budget Amendment BA 24-19 is presented and recommended.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is presentation, update to the 2040 Comprehensive Transportation Plan. More information about the agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison. Pam, good evening.
Good evening. I am excited tonight. I'm going to provide an overview of the work that's been done thus far on the Comprehensive Transportation Plan update, including the project background data, collection, public engagement, and our next steps. So as we've talked about before, the CTP serves as the town's transportation vision, identifies needs and deficiencies, recommends solutions through an action plan, and offers guidance to obtain future funding, facilitate coordination, and shape policy decisions. This is the tool that lets the town control transportation decisions so other people don't make those decisions for us. The planning process for the CTP update includes three major components: existing conditions, data gathering, and vision prioritization, development of multimodal recommendations, including corridors, street cross-sections, and intersection improvements, creation of an action plan and supporting documentation to implement the recommendations of the draft. And throughout this process, public engagement activities seek feedback and keep the community informed about the data that's been gathered and the draft findings and recommendations. The CTP has many steps along the way, but some of the key elements of this 2040 update include updating the travel demand model to more accurately represent known growth and development, integrating multimodal uses, particularly with the recently adopted Fuquay-Varina pedestrian plan, updating our cross-sections to better reflect emerging trends and roadway needs, a comprehensive set of projects in corridors and reflective of all different modes of travel, and an action plan that identifies a path forward to funding and implementation. The CTP update includes 2 phases of public engagement. We just wrapped up phase 1 at the end of November and are sharing the results of that engagement here tonight. We will be going back out to the public early next year for the second phase, where we'll ask for feedback on the draft recommendations. Our phase 1 engagement focused on raising awareness of the CTP with outreach that focused on feedback on the plan's vision, reviewed the existing conditions, and began to identify needs for each mode of transportation. We had great turnout during the phase 1 engagement with over 500 participants across our various outreach events and methods. We held 2 meetings with our steering committee, made up of local technical experts, 4 small group meetings with local stakeholders, including civic groups, HOA presidents, developers, and industry representatives, 1 pop-up event at the Celebrate Fuquay-Varina Festival, 1 public workshop with interactive activities, and throughout the phase 1 outreach period, there was an online survey available on the Let's Talk FB portal that received over 400 responses. The steering committee has provided great feedback with members from a wide range of backgrounds who have extensive technical and applicable expertise. Breaking down the feedback we received, you'll see that each slide includes these 3 icons shown in the key on the right to indicate where the feedback was captured. Before we dive into the details of the phase 1 engagement, I do want to remind you that this is only the first half of public engagement, and as the project moves forward in the next phase, it'll offer more opportunities for public feedback and participation, including online surveys and additional in-person meetings and pop-up events. Back to our phase 1 community engagement. Our 6 guiding principles were established during the 2035 CTP development, and we're carrying them forward in this update. The guiding principles establish a vision and are intended to focus our priorities throughout the planning process. In each of our public engagement events, we asked people to rank the importance of each guiding principle in their opinion. The results are shown here, with safety and security being the top priority. While all these principles are important and will be represented in the outcomes of the plan, this question helps us better understand where the priorities may lie. In each of the outreach activities, we ask the public to identify challenges and opportunities in our current transportation system on a map. Key themes from that feedback include concerns that there's too much congestion on both local and major roads, the understanding that congestion may get worse with more development, the need to improve traffic signal management, interest in intersection safety and design, like improved signal timing, the addition of signals at intersections, the addition of turn lanes, and using roundabouts more often. A desire to expand active transportation infrastructure, including connecting and expanding sidewalk networks, bike lanes, and greenways, and a goal to improve safety along roads with better lighting for both pedestrians and drivers. At the public workshop, we had participants create their ideal street and challenge them to work within real-world constraints, such as right-of-way limitations and context-sensitive features. Every road participant's creation included wider pedestrian facilities and many incorporated bike lanes and more landscaping. When asked to prioritize transportation issues, survey respondents answered traffic congestion and delay as the top issues. Lack of adequate pedestrian and bicycle and pedestrian facilities ranked second and fourth, respectively. When asked why they don't walk or bike now, a majority of respondents said there aren't enough facilities in town or it feels unsafe to do so. Here are those same results graphed in tables. So we have lots of data to go with. The key demographics of our survey respondents: a majority live in town, live in households that make over $50,000 a year, and were identified as white. Fuquay-Varina's median household income is about $94,000. For the future engagement, we will continue to try to reach a representative portion of the town's population. Our next steps, obviously, was presenting this to you tonight, and while we are doing our public outreach, we did the same, very similar presentation to our steering committee and to the planning board last night. The consultant is already working on taking the feedback we received, along with modeling they're conducting and street sections that they're developing, to lay the groundwork for that draft document. So we are really excited to put it all together. So I am available for any questions as of to the process so far.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Harris.
I'm just out of curiosity regarding the different designs. I guess the end product will be varying designs to for intersections that would be more in line with the traffic calming. We will see that in the final report.
Yes, there will be a whole traffic calming section integrated into the CTP.
Okay.
Along with, we are kind of streamlining. Right now, we have traditional street sections and cross sections, and we have form-based cross sections. So town staff is also interested in sort of merging those together, so we have just some standard solid cross sections.
Okay, one last question.
Go ahead.
So out of those, I think I saw 6 priorities or processes. My question was, was traffic congestion the priority that you're going to look at in regards to this plan? So many other things were discussed. I was just trying to.
Right. So, I mean, congestion is always a goal. We want to obviously reduce it, and hopefully everything, all the puzzle pieces come together to make safer roads with less congestion, that flow better, that are safer for multimodal transportation for bikers, pedestrians, drivers, that are well lit. And I mean, that's
And so we'll be able to
overarching.
see whatever some of the recommendations are in the final draft,
definitely, yes.
final plan. Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Ma-
you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, if I could
Yeah.
Go
also
ahead.
just piggyback off of Pam's response. I think big picture, what the board can expect to see is throughout our transportation network, what is going to be evaluated is, do the cross sections for the roads in our transportation network today still make sense? If they don't, they will be making recommendations on the cross sections, the widths, how wide, how many lanes, how many measures those roads should be moving forward based on land use planning, based on population growth, based on a number of factors that feed into it that lead to congestion, traffic congestion. So all of those are being evaluated as a part of this CTP update. I don't know that the board will necessarily see detailed designs from this at intersections or roadways, but you will receive recommendations on how wide, how large cross-sections should be for roads within our transportation network. And there will be focus on pinch point, troublesome intersections, particularly the ones that we're not already working on or have active live projects. Remember, we've got 17 projects in the hopper. A lot of those intersections are going to be addressed already with the commitments that this board has made to improving those intersections. But we have lots of intersections in town, and so the consultants will be looking at other intersections as well, and we'll be making recommendations if those intersections too should be a future focus of ours and DOT's as we continue to invest in transportation improvements.
Okay, all right.
Manager, as his overall update on all of our plans, I mean, there's some areas, as we saw in the past when Pam, the 2035 land vision plan and different ones that were updated showed different areas of growth in our town that needed, where some roads had been 2-lane roads, and that did not make sense anymore for the people that were driving on them, and that's part of what you're coming out from here too. Some roads may be 3-lane roads with divided turn lanes down the middle, maybe 4-lane roads, but that you at least have a chance, gives this board a chance to be able to evaluate all that through our area. And as we've always often talked about, transportation and infrastructure being the number one priority of this board, this right here is an update to that plan to make sure that we're hitting the mark and that we continue focusing on that and not, a lot of stuff I think we do today is playing catch up. And so this here's a plan to try to be more forward-looking at the same time.
And if I can just add, Mayor, you're exactly right. This has been the number one priority of the board for many years. It's the number one priority in most cases
Can't move fast enough.
for citizens in our community. And that is why Pam spent, a couple of slides and some time this evening talking about the public engagement process.
Yeah.
And we've done we always aim to do a lot of public engagement on any plan that we do. This one in particular, because of how important transportation is as a subject to our citizens, to our board, we've worked really hard to get public engagement in phase 1, and we're going to work really hard to get public engagement in phase 2. It is very important that our community be active and involved in the development of this plan, because we're all going to have to live with it once we adopt it and use it as our guiding tool to help us make improvements and investments in time. So I would just encourage you and anyone listening to this meeting, anyone at the meeting tonight, that if you haven't been involved and you know someone who hasn't been involved, encourage them to reach out to our planning department, participate in our future public engagement processes, get involved and give your input, because we want to try to get this as correct as possible for our citizens moving forward.
I think you're right. There in the communication implementation, when you're talking with some of the public on these plans, Pam, and getting feedback from them helps make a difference there. I mean, one I often think about is the Hilltop, Nemore, Sunset Lake Road, Bass Lake Road intersection 10 years ago. That was not in the town limits. It was a complaint by the public, which it was outside town limits, and this board had zero desire to spend town-paying tax dollars on intersections that are outside of our town. And now that our town limits have expanded and multiple areas around there are in the town limits, that intersections get ready to get some money invested in that. And so that makes a difference as we go through this process with the public too and priorities. Commissioner Adcock, you have something?
Couple of comments.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind. One thing, as far as we're talking about public engagement, and I think we all need to be thinking about from doing a better job of educating the citizens on growth. A lot of times when you talk about the transportation and the traffic, the average citizen says, quit approving the development. And they think that we're all crazy up here that we are continuing to approve the development. And number one, we can't stop people from developing property, but the way I see Fuquay-Varina, if we had a magic wand and we could stop all development, I think Northern Harnett County would probably be cheering, because all the growth would just, that much more would go to Northern Harnett County. And those folks don't pay taxes to Wake County. They don't pay taxes to Fuquay-Varina. Their population numbers don't count in the distribution of sales tax in Wake County. They're in a different DOT district. And so they drive through Fuquay-Varina every day, most of them, a lot of them, but they don't help us at all. And so I think if our citizens understand that yes, it's painful in the short run with this population influx. If we do not embrace it and capitalize on it, we're really shooting ourselves in the foot and things will be worse. So that's as far as engagement, I'd love for us to do a better job of that, all of us. That's the first comment. The second comment, I think we need more greenways around town and things like that. But to me, that, and I don't know with the plan, when we're talking about bicycle and this kind of thing, if greenways is part of that. Mm-hmm. But to me, that is a recreation, quality of life issue. And I want to make sure we're not mixing the idea of when I think transportation, I'm thinking about driving to the grocery store or to work or something like that. When I think about recreation, I'm thinking getting on my bike and riding, for enjoyment. So to me, they're two different things. And the number one issue that we've got is transportation, traffic, driving across town. So I want to make sure we don't muddy the water, that we, when we're talking with citizens and polling them, that they're not thinking, greenway, play, this kind of thing, and we want to know about transportation, actually moving them from point A to point B. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Adcock. Any further comments for staff?
Mr. Mayor,
Haynes, go
I
ahead.
guess as we're thinking as well, just listen to the other comments, making sure that we're focusing on, as Commissioner Adcock was just talking about, people who, everybody doesn't drive, everybody doesn't have a car. So focusing on making sure that we have sidewalks for all those people to get to, because, oftentimes it creates food deserts for people because they can't safely get to a grocery store or safely get to work, because it's oftentimes you see people in certain, going to work at their certain restaurants and different things, and they're walking to them. But they're walking in the middle of the street, they're walking on the side of the road, so making sure we are adequately focusing on sidewalks to make sure people can just get there safely is one of my key things, and make sure we have that. So focusing on the sidewalks.
Okay. Thank you very much, board members. I think
Mr. Mayor,
everybody's ready. Go
if
ahead.
you don't mind, just to sort of piggyback off of Commissioner Haynes, Commissioner Adcock, while we are going to be careful not to blur the lines about other forms of transportation, because we know the biggest bang for the buck is improving the roadways so that more cars can get through intersections, more cars can travel safely and more efficiently around and through town. Multimodal is a component of helping to reduce congestion as well. And so part of this analysis is sidewalks, is greenways, is other forms of transportation, so that it's a big picture focus on how we can strike all points to alleviate congestion. We know that the biggest bang for the buck is the intersections and the road improvements, and that's where the greatest focus is, but we won't lose sight over the multimodal components either.
Well, and I think as we, the image that the vision we want to have for Fuquay-Varina, or certainly I want to have, I hope it's other people's vision too, is that we are, we feel like a community, and I think, the walkability is a big issue, and I think that's just as much a part of this. That is moving people too. And giving them a good feeling about their health and their community, and I think that's a big part of it, and I like that that's included in this plan.
Let's get it going, Pam.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good presentation. Next item on our agenda tonight will be the public comment period. At this time, the town clerk will call on individuals that are in attendance and have registered to address the town board prior to the meeting. The public comment period is a time for the public to address the town board about any matter that is not the subject of a scheduled public hearing. Those speaking are asked to begin by clearly stating your name and address for the public record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, or that all who wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. Teresa, do you have anybody signed up?
We have no one.
Okay. Public comment period is closed. Next item on our agenda will be first public hearing of the evening. The only public hearing of the evening. Public hearings are a time for the petitioner to present his or her request and for the public to give input and voice their favor or opposition to the request. If you wish to speak and are physically in attendance, please step forward to the podium one at a time. Provide your name and address on the registration log at the podium and clearly state your name and address for the public record. We ask all those addressing the town board to please limit your comments to 30 minutes in order all that wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. Public hearing, item 15A, resolution for street name change, portion of Fleming Road, SR 1103. More information about agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison. Pam?
I'm back, supporting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a resolution to rename a specified portion of Fleming Road. The eastern portion of Fleming Road, shown in orange on your screen, from the Norfolk Southern Railroad to its terminus at West Academy Street, is proposed to be renamed Fleming Woods Lane. Between 1981 and 1988, the railroad crossing was removed, but neither side of Fleming Road was renamed, resulting in two distinct roads with the same name. Emergency response, delivery services, and general wayfinding are all impacted, and the recently approved Holston subdivision will be extending Fleming Road on the north side, making the situation even worse. Since the subject portion of Fleming Road is in the town's extraterritorial jurisdiction, Wake County will also hold a public hearing on the street renaming on January 16th of 2024. The affected properties, 5 parcels with 3 separate property owners, have received notification for both public hearings, and after the renaming receives approval from the county, readdressing will begin with the effective date of the address changes estimated for mid to late February. For all the affected properties, their street address number will stay the same, just the road name will change. The recommendation tonight is to approve a resolution for street name change for a portion of Fleming Road as presented and recommended. I'm available if you have any questions.
I don't think any questions at this time. Thank you, Pam. The hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the resolution for street name change? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the resolution for street name change? The hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what is the pleasure of the board?
Makes sense to me. I'll make a motion to approve a resolution for street name change for a portion of Fleming Road as presented and recommended.
I'll second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. What's the board's pleasure on the items on the consent agenda? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. First administrative report tonight, item 10A, HL 0042 South Judd and South Main Street Roadway Intersection Operational Improvements Project, Supplemental Agreement Number 2. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Engineering Director Bowling. Matt, you notice the most exciting intersection in town we talk about. And I tell you every time, can't get it done fast enough.
No, sir. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. The purpose of this agenda item is to approve a project ordinance amendment and authorize the town manager to enter into a municipal supplemental funding agreement with the North Carolina Department of Transportation for the South Judd Parkway, South Main Street Intersection Operational Improvements Project. As most of you all are aware, the project includes the addition of multiple turning lanes, curb and gutter, sidewalk. The project was originally delayed back in 2020 due to COVID and DOT budget shortfalls. It is completely funded by CAMPO and by DOT funds. And this is the second supplemental agreement that DOT is giving us. It's $30,000 in addition to the other funds that we had gotten. And the project is estimated to be complete, substantially complete by the summer of 2024. And the motion tonight is to approve a project ordinance amendment, POA 2411, in the amount of $30,000. and authorize the town manager to enter into a municipal supplemental funding agreement with NCDOT for the HL 0041 South Judd Parkway, South Main Street intersection operational improvements project, subject to the town attorney's review as to form. And I'll take any questions.
Any questions for Matt? So they're on the clock right now, isn't that correct, Matt?
That's right. And we've got the first cross culvert across the street, had to avoid some of the utilities, but we've got that first pipe in, and they're starting to lay several runs of storm drainage.
I saw the storm drainage got delivered last week or week before last. Well, that's good. When can we expect it complete?
Substantially complete by summer of '24.
All right, 6 months out.
Yes.
I'm optimistic. I look at early summer, not end of summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr.
right.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
if I can just make a point, Matt, am I correct, this $30,000 is just an additional funding that was gifted to us by NCDOT, and it comes very timely because we have had some additional fiber utility work that needs to be relocated, and these funds will go towards offsetting that cost. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So,
You
wanna
know
thank-
this project, you've gotten a lot of money from the state and federal government for it, so thank you. Good job. Good job. Let's not hold them up. Anybody make a motion to get the work fixed in this intersection?
Mayor, I move that we approve a project ordinance amendment POA 24-11 in the amount of $30,000 and to authorize the town manager to enter into a municipal supplemental funding agreement with NCDOT for the HL-0041 South Judd Parkway / South Main Street intersection operational improvements project, subject to the town attorney's review as to form.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Matt, next item on the agenda, HL-0028 Highway 401 and Mill Creek Drive roadway improvement project supplemental agreement. More information be provided by Director Polling.
I would like to submit this agenda abstract and the supporting documents into the official record of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to approve a project ordinance amendment, budget amendment, and authorize the town manager to enter into a municipal supplemental funding agreement with the North Carolina Department of Transportation for Highway 401 Mill Creek Drive intersection improvements. This intersection was actually presented at the last town board meeting as well, but it includes the addition of multiple turn lanes. The supplemental agreement is a total of $1.8 million with a 50-50 match. The project is actually estimated to begin in April of '24 and to be complete in the spring of '25. And this is the entrance into the Gold Leaf commercial subdivision. And the recommended motion tonight is to approve a project ordinance amendment, POA 2412, to appropriate the additional $900,000 grant funding, approve a budget amendment, BA 2420, to reduce the transfer from the transportation fee and lieu reserves in the amount of $880,000, and authorize the town manager to enter into a supplemental funding agreement with NCDOT for the HL 0028 Highway 401 Mill Creek Drive intersection improvements project, subject to the town attorney's review as to form. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
This is gonna be a great project also. It's gonna really get set up for a commercial shopping center that's coming and moving traffic through this intersection that backs up, so. Again, public's excited for this. Matt, when will this project expect to be complete? Or what?
April of '25.
You're expecting to mobilize about April 24, right?
That's right.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good. We're excited for that. We'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I would motion that we approve a project ordinance amendment to appropriate the additional $900,000 grant funding, approve a budget amendment to reduce the transfer from transportation fee and lieu reserves to the amount of $880,000, and authorize the town manager to enter into a municipal supplemental funding agreement with the NCDOT for the Highway 401 Mill Creek Drive intersection improvement project, subject to the town attorney's review as to form.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda, item 10C, contract award downtown Fuquay Development Site demolition phase 2. Matt?
I'd like to submit this agenda abstract and the supporting documents into the official record of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a contract award in the amount of $112,500 to contractor Foss Demolition Incorporated for the demolition of the vacant town-owned commercial lots located in the downtown Fuquay-Varina district. The scope of work, this is phase 2. It is the demolition of the remaining foundations, the abandonment of the remaining utilities, grading and stabilization. We received a total of 3 bids on December 6th, with Foss Demolition being the lowest responsible bidder. And we have a fiscal note. Phase 1 of the project cost $94,000, and to demolish the buildings in phase 2 will cost $112,500. So here's a map of the area.
At the end of phase 2, the project will be in pretty good shape. I know y'all have had a lot of interest in, I know it's not your department, on some of the economic development with this map, but I know we've had a lot of interest with that here too. So thank you for getting the site ready to be able to help Tiffany and for our project right here. Thank you there. Any questions from staff?
How much did the first phase of this cost?
Was
Both of these were well
94,000.
below budget.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
First phase was just short of 100,000. It was 90 plus, 94,000.
And that was the
Demolition
and
of
the
all the
removal
structures.
of everything.
That's right, yes, sir.
Asbestos, all that stuff.
That's right.
And this phase costs more than that one.
They will have, asphalt and concrete pads to haul away, but yes, it does cost a little bit more than that.
I'm surprised.
Grading.
Concrete always costs more than the building materials.
Mr. Mayor, the staff will always, and I don't think Matt has done it yet, will always read the motion in the future. If the board desires to just make a motion as recommended, that town attorney says that's completely acceptable.
Say so moved, or motion is recommended, and that saves some words.
I think for this one, Matt still needs to just give the recommended motion.
The recommended motion tonight is to award a contract to Foss Demolition Incorporated in the amount of $112,500 and authorize the town manager to execute the contract on behalf of the town for the downtown Fuquay development site demolition phase 2, subject to the town attorney's review as to form.
So moved.
So moves, good motion. We got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next administrative report, item 10D, contract extension amendment, McRolin Properties LLC, local economic development incentive agreement. More information about the agenda item will be presented by Economic Development Director McNeil. Tiffany, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and Town Board.
Good evening.
The purpose of the agenda item is to consider a request by McRolin Properties LLC to amend its local incentive agreement, allowing for a project completion extension to April 30th, 2025. In September 2021, the Town Board approved an economic development incentive of up to $250,000 for the development of the Fuquay-Varina Family Fun Center, newly rebranded as McWally's. The facility will feature a full-service restaurant, sports bar, arcade, laser tag, 20 bowling lanes, a private event space, and patio seating. Due to unforeseen construction delays, the project timeline has shifted, and McRolin Properties now requests a completion extension to April 30th, 2025 for the required capital investment. And here you'll see an elevation of what the completed facility will look like. They have cleared the space and construction will begin soon. Step back, sorry. I'm going too far. Other direction, there you go. Am I doing it wrong? Get it for me. It's always good to have support.
Tiffany's gonna have us adjourning here in about 20 seconds.
Go back, there we go. All right. So, there is a fiscal note related to this agenda item. The original economic incentive required a minimum of $10 million capital investment by December 31, 2023, and a commitment to hire 100 new jobs, to provide 100 new jobs by December 31, 2026. If approved, the amended agreement will require a $10 million capital investment by April 30th, 2025, and 100 new jobs by May 1st, 2027. The staff recommendation is for the board to approve a motion to approve the First Amendment to McRolin Properties LLC local incentive agreement as presented and recommended.
All right, any questions? This is a project that I know you've worked on for quite some time, Tiffany, and they are under construction now, so we're glad to see that, and that it's gonna be an exciting amenity for our residents right here in town. Want to entertain a motion so moved?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the First Amendment to the McRolin Properties LLC local incentive agreement as presented and recommended.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, 10E, Contract Extension Amendment, CCO Label, Inc., Local Economic Development Incentive Agreement. More information about this item will be presented by Director McNeil. Tiffany?
Thank you. All right, I got it this time. Okay. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a request by CCL Label Incorporated to amend its local incentive agreement, allowing for a project completion extension to December 31, 2024. In November 2021, the town board approved an economic development incentive of up to $750,000 for CCL Label. CCL Label purchased the entire 32-acre Fuquay-Varina Business Park to develop their specialty packaging and labeling facility for their new healthcare division. While you see a lot of progress there, see this is the original concept, and see how far they've come in construction, they have experienced some unforeseen construction delays, and they are now requesting that the project timeline be extended to December 31st, 2024 for the required capital investment. Excuse me. The economic development fiscal, there's a fiscal note for this agenda item. The Economic Development Incentive Agreement requires a minimum of $29 million in capital investment by December 31st, 2023, and a commitment to hire 150 new employees by December 31st, 2026. If approved, the amendment would allow the capital investment to be made by December 31, 2024, and 150 new jobs by December 31st, 2027. The staff's recommendation is for the town board to make a motion to approve the First Amendment for CCO Label Incorporated Locals Incentive Agreement as presented and recommended.
Any further questions for Director McNeil? Not, we can entertain a motion so moved.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda, other business, manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. A few things just to bring to the board's attention this evening. Just as it relates to some of our capital purchases this year, our street department just took ownership of a replacement truck and tractor that were ordered at the beginning of the fiscal year. So it took about 6 months for them to receive those, but they are being prepared to be put into service. And our sanitation department is still waiting on the receipt of the small garbage truck. Remember, we ordered a smaller truck for specific uses that will be replacing the pack rat that we've had for a number of years. And once we receive that, that will complete the purchase for Public Works capital equipment for this fiscal year. Our Art Center is working with IT staff to install some updated video and recording equipment at the Art Center. They're taking advantage of a little bit of downtime during the holidays after this big rush of wonderful events that we've had at our Art Center for the last 60 or so days, and making some maintenance and improvement needs. We've had 4 new police officers successfully complete basic law enforcement training and pass their state exam, and they start field training tomorrow. So these would be 4 new officers that will be on our force. I'm very pleased to report, Joanne's in the room tonight, our finance department received notice that the fiscal year 24 budget document which is our current fiscal year, received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from the Government Finance Officers Association. This award is the highest form of recognition in the governmental budgeting and represents a significant achievement for the town. This is a great honor, and this is the second consecutive award that we received. The whole finance department and our department directors are to be attributed with this success, but specifically Joanne and Katie Lum, our budget and fiscal analyst. Katie is doing a fantastic job of managing the budget process, and she's to be given a great deal of credit for having put together the document that has received this award. So I want to thank those members of our staff for their efforts. The mayor and I attended the North Carolina Metro Mayors Coalition annual meeting since we last met. Topics that were discussed at that meeting, these are the largest, the 30 or so largest cities in the state of North Carolina attend this annual meeting. Topics included passenger rail, economic development, downtown revitalization, and legislative reports. We had the Speaker of the House came and made a presentation to the mayors and managers from these 30 largest cities and towns in North Carolina. Interestingly, it was reported that North Carolina received $3.5 million in federal grants for the planning of new passenger rail lines throughout various parts of our state. And one such line to be planned and studied is the Fayetteville to Raleigh connector with stops in Lidlington and Fuquay-Varina. So this is an important initiative for our community. And so our town will be, under the mayor, myself, will be participating actively in planning meetings for this effort as the planning efforts and studies progress into next year. Plans are underway right now for celebrating Black History Month and Juneteenth here in Fuquay-Varina, and so I want to thank all those who are involved in those plans. Management and Human Resources continue to work with the market compensation consultant on refining career ladder parameters for various departments. That'll be discussed with the board in the coming months. Myself, the mayor, our economic development director visited since our last meeting with South Bend Range, one of our big four industries here in town, and had a fantastic meeting with their leadership. Our staff is continuing on the initial phases and process of the fiscal year 25 budget, which will include property tax revaluation, which will be bringing more information to the board on that in the coming weeks and months as well. Again, I'll remind you that in February we'll have our annual strategic planning retreat, and so if there's any topics that you wish to discuss at that retreat and you would like for management to be prepared for, please begin emailing me those topics so that we can begin getting some thoughts and information together. Town offices will be closed this Thursday, December 21st from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for our employee luncheon. And town offices will also be closed for observance of Christmas and New Year's, December 25th through 27th, and on January 1st. Our board meeting, our first board meeting of 2024 will be on Tuesday, January 2nd, because Monday, January 1st is New Year's Day. So make sure your calendars appropriately reflect that. We have Coffee with a Cop at First National Bank. That will be on Wednesday, January 10th from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration that's hosted and put on by the Cultural Arts Society of Fuquay-Varina will be January 15th at 9:30 a.m. And a new initiative by the police department, Friends with Wisdom, will be held at Windsor Point Retirement Community on Wednesday, January 17th from 9 to 10 a.m. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll be happy to answer any questions that the town board may have. Otherwise, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's, and we'll hit the ground running in 2024.
That's right. Okay. Before we go on to board member comments, I made all the board members aware of some appointments that I made to, these don't take ratification of the board, but just want to make everybody reminded of those today too. And they were in the minutes of the last meeting, but be re-advertised in those. And that I'm appointing the following individuals to the Parks and Recreational Advisory Board. This is a reappointment of Renee Potts as the in-town representative. She will, reappointed as Renee Potts as in-town representative. I'm appointing Travis Cox as an in-town representative who is filling an unexpired term. Travis is a resident of Fuquay-Varina. He He works in sales for a software development company. He's been very active in our youth sports programs, coaches football and basketball, and attends local church and was a previous football player at ECU too. And so Travis is a great guy right there. Reappointment of Sheree Ward. She has been on the as advisory board as an ETJ representative, and she is reappointed to the advisory board also. She's a resident of the Crooked Creek subdivision. And I'm further appointed Renee Potts. Renee Potts has been the vice chair up until now, and so I've appointed her to be the full chair this time for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 25. So just making the board aware of those appointments there. Adam, before we go into closed session, or excuse me, before we go into board member comments tonight, do we have a closed session tonight? We did. Okay, we did have a closed
We
session.
did have a closed session, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, we're going to town board member comments. Commissioner Harris.
Oh, I just wanted to say that this has been a remarkable year for Fuquay-Varina. A lot of great things have happened. Probably the most exciting thing that I have experienced has been what I call the maturing of the Fuquay Arts Center. There have been a lot of great events that have occurred, and I think that we have made statements as far as the variety of entertainment and the diversity here in Fuquay-Varina. The festivals were outstanding. A lot of the projects are still in the hopper, but we're moving forward as far as being responsive to some of the concerns of the citizens. Not all, we're still working toward it. I think it's been a great year for the staff, us as an elected board, and I'd just like to wish everyone a happy holiday.
Commissioner Adcock, any comments?
No comments.
Commissioner Watch, any comments?
Want to wish everyone a happy holiday as well, and again, it's wonderful to be here.
Commissioner Haynes, any comments?
Yes, just a few, Mr. Mayor. We do have our annual Christmas food giveaway this Saturday from 10 to 12 at Pondex Community Center. We're expecting a big turnout. We'll be giving out stockings and coats and a whole lot of stuff outside the food, so it's going to be a busy day for us on Saturday. I definitely was honored to be able to sit on the panel at the Triangle Community Coalition's Access Program this past week. I sat with Commissioner Steve Rao and Mayor Pro Tem Ed Gray from Apex just to speak to the constituents. So that was a great event, as well as I definitely want to thank the mayor and Commissioner Harris for letting me tune in yesterday at Miss Gertrude Harrelson's 100-year birthday. That's just amazing that we have citizens who are 100 years old and still mind is very sharp and can relive every memory of her life like it's nothing. So it was just amazing for her and her best friend, who is 98, just to have a full conversation and just remember everything. That was just a beautiful thing. And again, as everybody else said, just a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I pray that everybody stays safe until we see each other again.
Thank you.
That's right. Thank you, Commissioner Haynes. You know, it's pretty neat being in the room with somebody or speaking to somebody of that age, and it's probably the second person I've ever met that's actually 100 years old. And so you're right, the history that they know. Hopefully you and me make it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, bud. Mayor Pro Tem Gardner, any comments?
Just wish everybody a happy and safe holiday. It has been a remarkable year, as Commissioner Harris said, and so many things to be grateful for in this community.
That's right. Merry Christmas. I'm going to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year for everybody in here. Look forward to the next meeting and a great year next year. A lot of great things happening in our community, as was mentioned this previous year, and a lot of great things are going to happen next year, especially with all of Matt's projects right there with transportation infrastructure and a variety of our staff projects that are going on. An exciting time. But Merry Christmas, everybody. We do have a closed session recommended tonight, Manager. What's the
Yes, sir. Closed session
ordinance.
recommended pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A3, attorney-client privilege, and A5, property acquisition.
Do we have a so moved motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll move into a brief adjournment.